What's going on, everybody? GemMint here, and today we're going to highlight every comic book character's best omnibus. I got inspired to do this video from James over at Mint Hunter Comics. He did every comic book character's best cover, and he's always got a lot of great ideas. Shout out to James. But I thought maybe we can flip this on to the omnibus hobby, and I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to go A to Z. So I'm going to choose a character from each letter of the alphabet and talk their best omnibus. And if you guys dig this video, at the end of it, leave a like on it and let me know if you want to see a part 2. We'll reshuffle the deck and we'll pick all new characters for all the different letters. And it gets kind of difficult with some obscure letters, and some characters don't have any omnibus, so it gets kind of fun. Before we jump into it though, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and hit that bell for notifications so that you don't miss a video. And let's jump into letter A. For letter A, I picked the Avengers, and I'm cheating a little bit. I'm grabbing both of the Avengers omnibus by Jonathan Hickman. Kind of a difficult choice because I do like the classic Avengers stuff, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, you got West Coast Avengers, you got John Byrne, but I just felt like this story that's going to be adapted to the big Secret Wars movie over at the MCU would be the best set to represent the Avengers. So Hickman's run on Avengers is letter A.
Ain't nothing pumping right now, B.
All right, guys, on to letter B. I wanted to show some DC love, so I went with Batman, and I picked none other than the Batman Omnibus by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. Amazing writing, beautiful artwork, a self-contained omnibus that you can just pick up and knock out these 3 incredible stories with a character that's been around for 90 years or so. It's difficult to know where to jump on. So this is a great omnibus. If you're into Batman, you don't want to read decades and decades of history, you can get this great self-contained omnibus all in one package.
Hey, yo! They will never see.
All right, guys, on to letter C, and I got Captain America by Ed Brubaker. I almost grabbed all 5 volumes, but you know what? This one is probably my favorite. This is where we get the first appearance of the Winter Soldier, that epic story that was translated into one of the best MCU movies of all time. Modern artwork with great storytelling. You can't beat Brubaker's Cap.
Throw some D's on that beat.
All right, guys, on to letter D, and it's going to be a little Marvel heavy since Marvel has so many more Omnis, but we still found a way to get a lot of DC in here, but not yet. D is reserved for Daredevil, and of course I went with Daredevil by Frank Miller. I almost gave it to Zdarsky, but I'm like, no way. You can't beat the Frank Miller character-defining, character-changing arc. Great artwork here, brutal fight scenes, and an amazing story. Love this run by Frank Miller.
Rated E for everyone.
All right, now on to letter E. What characters start with the letter E and have an omnibus? While I think about that really quick, we are doing a live claim sale right here on the channel on January 24th. We're doing it with Dynamic Forces. Let my boy Alex give you guys a little sneak peek on what he's going to be bringing.
Friday, January 24th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Dynamic Forces is back with another GemMint live claim show. We are super excited for this. It's our second show. It's going to be great. Here are some of the examples of stuff that we'll have on the show. We're going to have some brand new incentives from the past couple of weeks, some Marvel and DC ratios. We're going to have some Dynamic Forces signed books. We're going to have some complete or current Dynamite sets. We've got a lot of omnibuses. That's right, this show's going to have a ton of omnibuses. Mega packs. We have Dynamite metal covers, and we have hand-drawn, custom sketch covers. Friday, January 24th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Dynamic Forces and GemMint. We'll see you there.
All right, so for E, let's go with the Eternals. Jack Kirby, read this, love this storyline. I'm a big fan of the Celestials. Ever since they showed the Celestials with their not applicable power set on the back of those Marvel Universe trading cards, I was infatuated with them, and the story held up. The movie, not as well, but I still dug the Eternals by Jack Kirby. Definitely their best omnibus. It's their only one.
Catch an F to the A-B.
All right, enough Marvel. Let's get into some DC heroes. With F, we've got The Flash. I couldn't think of a better one than the Flashpoint Omnibus. This has got to be his most popular run. Many people will say the Jeff Johns run, but I think if you're going to recommend one Flash Omnibus, the best Flash Omnibus, you got to go with this iconic event of a storyline, Flashpoint. So many great twists and turns. You've got Reverse Flash. You've got Thomas Wayne. Beautiful story. Must have Omni.
Same OG.
All right, moving on to the letter G, obviously Green Lantern. We're going to go with the Green Lantern Omnibus by Jeff Johns. Sure, we can go volume 1, but really the 3-volume saga is a must-own here. Easily the best of the Green Lantern Omnis, although I think the Silver Age stuff still holds up.
H.
All right, for letter H, this character has to have one of the most omnibus for a solo character, and that is the Incredible Hulk. And if I had to recommend one Hulk omnibus, it would definitely be Planet Hulk. A lot of people may say Peter David's Hulk run, but that's 5 volumes long, plus the Maestro omnibus, which could all be great material. I haven't gone through all of it yet, so I'm gonna just stick with Planet Hulk. Incredible story, it's a light read, but it packs a punch, pun intended. All right, guys, on to letter I. Who should we do for I? Iron Man? It's kind of obvious. How about Iron Fist? And let's go back with Brubaker. The Immortal Iron Fist by Ed Brubaker was one of the first Omnis I read way back in the day. I had the first printing, and then I ended up doing this video here highlighting the new printing. My first introduction to Iron Fist, again, modern artwork, incredible storytelling by one of the best, Immortal Iron Fist by Brubaker.
That's for Mr. J!
All right, now on to letter J. Let's kick it back to DC with the Clown Prince of Crime. He has one omnibus, and it's the Bronze Age omnibus. Now, this is kind of cheating because this is the only Joker omnibus out there. There's plenty of absolutes. There's plenty of Batman omnis that have the Joker in it, of course. But I figured we would dedicate this letter, at least for this round, to the most popular comic book villain of all time with his lone solo omni.
Okay.
All right, guys, letter K was difficult. Not only are there not really many characters that start with the letter K, let alone characters that have omnibus, but I think I found one. It's by Jack Kirby, and it's the Commandy Omnibus. This isn't a character that I'm really familiar with. The omnibus pairs well with the Fourth World and the DC Universe by Jack Kirby. It's like a Tarzan, Khazar type of character, but it is a character that starts with the letter K with this lone omnibus, so we're gonna give it to Commandy. All right, guys, we're on to letter L, and let's give it to Luke Cage. And his best omnibus has got to be the only omnibus he has, but it's the OG, original years of Luke Cage. You get his first appearance, the Heroes for Hire run. Luke Cage taking the spot for letter L with his original years omnibus.
Rated M.
All right, guys, on to letter M, and I'm going to give it to Moon Knight. And I'm going to give it to the Huston Omnibus. Some people might say the Monch stuff, the original stuff, but I love this omnibus. This is the run with the David Finch covers, and it's more of a street-level, grounded superhero book. Unlike the Jeff Lemire stuff, which is more psychedelic, more so of what they borrowed for the MCU TV show, this was my Moon Knight that I really love. I love this omnibus so much, I read it in just 2 days. Now, there are a couple of characters that I could have picked for N, but for this round, we're going to go with Namor in his lone omnibus, but it's a classic. It's John Byrne and Jay Lee, a young Jay Lee. So what do you get when you pair a master writer with a new upcoming talent? Beautiful artwork, great storytelling, and a hard to come by omnibus these days as well.
Why me crack it? Why me roll?
All right, on to the letter O. What comic book characters start with O? Octopus, Dr. Octopus, he doesn't have an omnibus. Oh, Onslaught starts with O, and Onslaught technically has an omnibus. Yeah, that's the name of the event, but that's the character as well. It's the XMen Avengers team up, the mid-90s following up the Age of Apocalypse. Crazy villain, a combination of Professor X and Magneto. Great design though, but Onslaught giving it up for the O.
I'm pushing P.
All right, guys, on to letter P, and we're going to take it back to the streets with The Punisher. And I picked The Punisher by Garth Ennis. You really could have picked either one of the runs. I remember liking this one more so than the 2-volume series. This was the Marvel Knights run of Punisher. It's Garth Ennis. It's gritty, it's witty, it's raunchy, and it's violent. Everything that you want from a Punisher omnibus. All right, letter Q is the only one that stumped me. I mean, there's a couple of comic book characters that start with the letter Q. I mean, Quasar comes to mind, but no omnibus. Unless I'm mistaken, Q is the only one that we couldn't do a best omnibus for. This video is brought to you by Paraz Entertainment. MegaCon is right around the corner, February 6th, and we have a Dream Killers 1 drop featuring an absolute Batman 1 homage. There's 5 different trims on this. They're going to be dropped live on Whatnot during the convention. Make sure to follow That Spider-Man Booth on Whatnot and bookmark their upcoming shows. Which brings us to letter R, and I went with Rom. So Rom has a 3-volume omnibus series. It's the only omnibus that he has. It's the entire run. So really all 3 books are the best omnibus for Rom. But I figured I'd highlight the Space Knight for this countdown.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!
For the letter S, I chose my favorite character and I went with Spider-Man, but I really am having a hard time on which one is the best Spider-Man omnibus. Is it Volume 1? Is it Spider-Man vs. Venom? This is a great omnibus. It's everything you need to know about Spider-Man. It holds up. It's his first appearance, the first appearance of many of his villains. But then you have my childhood, man. You have Todd McFarlane. You have Mark Bagley. You have Maximum Carnage. If I had to recommend one Spider-Man omnibus, I think it would be Spider-Man vs. Venom.
Spill that tea.
All right, I got a similar dilemma with the letter T. I went with the Mighty Thor, but which omnibus is the best? Is it the Walter Simonson? Is it the Donny Cates? I think most people would say Walter Simonson, but if I was going to recommend a Thor omnibus for a new reader, I would pick the Thor omnibus by Donny Cates.
You just gotta punch, then crank back 3 times.
For the letter U, I could have cheated a little bit. I could have said Ultimate Spider-Man. I could have said Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate whatever, but that's not really the name of the character. But this is the name of the group, the Ultimates, from the original Ultimate Universe by Brian Hitch and Mark Miller. Raunchy, modern, early 2000s Avengers stuff that would blow you away when you turn the page. I would say this is the best Ultimates omnibus.
You may call me V.
All right, the letter V. Are there any cool characters that start with the letter V and have an omnibus? Oh yeah, one of my favorite characters, Venom, and I chose the Venom Omnibus Volume 1. I was almost gonna pick Venom by Donny Cates. That is a great self-contained omnibus, but for me, this is the stuff I grew up on. The Lethal Protector, all those original miniseries when Venom first showed up, 90s artwork, epic stuff here. Venom Omnibus Volume 1, to me, is the best Venom omnibus. I'm kind of making it hard for myself to do a part 2 or part 3, picking all my favorite characters on the first round, but for W, I went with Wolverine. And again, Wolverine Volume 1 to me is a must-own omnibus. Your first appearance, the Barry Windsor Smith Weapon X stuff, starting the first Patch solo series, so much great material packed into this omnibus. Big fan of Wolverine and big fan of this Omni. And I went with the Uncanny X-Men Volume 1. To me, this is the X-Men omnibus that I would recommend to somebody if they just wanted to jump into the team. You could have gone Silver Age, but I feel like this is where they really find their stride. Chris Claremont, John Byrne, David Cockrum, great art, epic stories that are still relevant to this day. Y is another difficult one, man. What comic book character starts with the letter Y and has an omnibus? The only thing I could think of was Y the Last Man, and although I read these when they came out in absolute editions, they later did come out with an omnibus and a TV show. The show wasn't good, but the comic was actually really good, man. Brian K. Vaughan, great storytelling, nice concept. Y the Last Man coming in at letter Y. And the final one is letter Z. Now, there are no characters that start with the letter Z that have their own omnibus, so we're going to cheat a little bit here and go 0 Hour. Showing some DC love, technically a mid-90s Crisis event, although people don't really loop it in with Crisis stuff. I love this era of comic books. I had a lot of fun reading this, so I'm going to put it on my list for the Z's. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know I had fun putting it together, trying to come up with a list of characters and choosing which ones were their best omnis. I kind of figured it would be helpful for people that wanted to read up more on their favorite characters, but didn't really know where to start. Big shout out to James over at Mint Hunter Comics once again for the inspo. Thank you guys for watching, and stay minty fresh. Peace.